Name me your age.
Sure, Isaac Welliver, I'm 37.
Okay. And then where did you grow up?
Grew up in Crawfordsville, Indiana.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Crawfordsville High School and graduated in 2005.
Okay. Did you always know that you wanted to be a chef growing up?
From a pretty early age, I was about 16 when I
Really?
decided that, yeah.
What made you, what sparked that decision?
Well, I think it was 16, maybe it was a little bit younger. I started working at McDonald's when I was 14, and I really liked hospitality. And then Crawfordsville got an extended cable package about that time, so Food Network was one of the channels. And I watched Wolfgang Puck make a 5-course meal, and by the second course, I started taking notes, and I was like, I think I can do this. And so I made a 5-course meal that evening for my family.
What was the meal?
It was pretty basic. The main course was salmon with capers, and I had never heard of capers before, and so the entire thing was a pretty awesome experience. But
Okay. Did your family like it?
if they didn't tell me otherwise. I think that they were very unimpressed by the mess that I made. I remember it cost $50, so $50 for like a home cooked meal was pretty outrageous, but they definitely enabled me to do that.
Okay. Where did you study at?
The Cooking and Hospitality Institute of Chicago.
Okay. Did you live there while you studied there?
I did. Yeah, I moved to Chicago the last day of 2005 and lived in a very small studio apartment, 410 square feet, with another guy that I'd never met before, but we were both from Indiana, and I figured, well, that gives me a little bit of a heads up. So
Was he also doing it?
yeah, he was in culinary school too. Yeah, I said never met before, but we had met at a few orientations and things like that.
So it
So
wasn't like totally random.
yeah, the school's like, hey, you both are looking for roommates, and
I always thought the concept of like living with somebody absolutely random was totally weird.
yeah, it is totally weird, and I've done it a few times.
Like because you know nothing about the person.
Yeah.
What was your favorite destination that you visited during
Hearing what?
your school?
Oh man.
Anyways, let me ask it again. Sorry. I should have brought out like a tripod or something.
Oh.
Okay, what was your favorite destination that you visited during your schooling?
Favorite destination?
Because I know you traveled abroad, didn't you?
Yeah, I did that. I think I started doing that after I was done with culinary school.
Okay.
No, one of my favorite places though, that's a place called El Castillo in Nicaragua on the Rio San Juan, and it's only reachable by these like long, narrow, barely better than a canoe boat with a tiny little outboard engine on it, and it's 3 hours up the river, the crocodile and caiman infested river. I love it. It's truly the middle of nowhere.
What did you do there?
What did I do there? That's an old Spanish base, so it was really historical and everything. I was there on holiday for like 72 hours. I had to leave Costa Rica every 3 months. So
Okay. And what was your favorite part about their culture?
my favorite part about their culture, was how un-American it was. You know, as Americans, we're very focused on our careers, working hard as we define it, and you know all the good capitalistic values. There's no sense that really matters. What really matters is your family and your friends, and are you enjoying yourself? In Costa Rica, their motto is Pura Vida, pure life. And I thought it was a very, very foreign concept to me that, you know, you don't have to try to redline and push yourself to the extreme when you have different values like family and free time. If family and free time are your number one values, then your career can kind of come and go.
Like you work to live, you don't live to live.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's something I would try to tell myself a lot.
Oh man, I'm able to impart some of those values, but yeah, I have a hard time putting that into practice.
What was your favorite cuisine you tried while traveling? It doesn't even have to be in Nicaragua either.
Sure. There are a lot of good, authentic Chinese food places in Latin America. I mean, like real, not like General Toe
Like
or
American
Orange
Chinese
Chicken
food.
or anything like that. Like truly Chinese, and they have a high Chinese immigration population. So that was really neat. Like I loved, and they would grow their own vegetables because it's such a fertile. You can grow anything from
So
anywhere
it's a
there.
lot more fresh than it
Yeah.
is here.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to open your business in Crawfordsville?
Well, there's a few different reasons. When I came back, when my mom got sick, that was pretty apparent to me. Like I had always vowed to return to Crawfordsville and open a restaurant, and I don't know what date like I thought that would be, but when we first saw this building, I don't know, I can't remember if we like went out for a drink or whatever afterwards, and like I had to pull out my ID. I was like, dude, you're 31. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to Chicago for another 20 years and then come back and open a restaurant when you're 50? You know how impractical that is.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the time. And then when
It's
we,
kind of like a light bulb moment.
yeah, and when we saw this location, the price of the rent, like I thought it was missing a zero at the end. It was only $650 a month. I have never seen a space for less than $5,000
Yeah.
because I was familiar with the real estate in Chicago. So that it seemed very practical to me. It seemed that I could make a living here. Also, you know, in Crawfordsville, it's over with at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
although I have the American values really in me, I still have that like practical notion to try to have a family life. And I was wondering, I was like, man, is it really possible to be a family man and a restaurateur? And I think the answer is yes, but maybe only in Crawfordsville or a small town
Yeah.
that doesn't demand you work until 1 or 2 a.m.
Yeah. If given the option, would you open elsewhere? Not even like it doesn't even have to be like you would have initially opened elsewhere, like maybe like a second location.
Yeah. I think that a second location could be in order. As we gear ourselves more towards really being a bar and grill and carry over the aesthetic from the bar and make it even more casual and unified with the dining room, we're going to find a formula that continues to work better and better and better. And once we have that formula that really hits well, that's when it's time to start looking at second locations.
Okay. I saw this. I went to the hospitality summit last year, and there was a speaker there, and she said this quote that really resonated with me. She was like, "If you feel like you aren't growing in your job, then you need to find something else."
Yeah.
So would you say like at the point where you feel like there's no more growing to do at Crawfordsville, then you would open something else?
Yeah, kind of. There's so many ways, as I've gotten older, there's so many different ways to experience growth. You know, of course, there's the easy to measure financial growth, you know, the communal growth, the family growth, personal development and growth and time management. So I'm not shy on growth by any means right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a period of extreme growth, I feel like. But what would really make me consider a different location is, one, I'd have to be interested in the town because I'm going to be spending a lot of time there. So if there was somewhere that, you know, really caught my attention for more than just the restaurant, I would be invigorated.
Like the community and stuff?
Yeah. by that.
Would you ever think of doing something far away? Or would you want it to be closer?
Probably not. To do something, if I did something far away, that would have to, it would have to work out and be a plan, which is okay, you know, this much of the year I live in Crawfordsville, this much of the year I live somewhere else. I mean, we have family in Florida and everything, and that would be phenomenal. to do something down there, but there's also the different economic factors. Like Crawfordsville having a restaurant here, this is a very attainable thing to do. Other markets are not, man. Like the Chicago market, for example, that is a wild market to operate in, and I've got no desire to go back to that. Mainly
in
because
a bigger
of,
city, so
yeah,
maybe like a smaller city.
yeah, maybe a smaller city, but yeah, everything's always on the table.
You could even, I mean, it would be a lot easier for you too because Braylon is homeschooled and
Yep.
Atticus is small.
Yeah, that definitely fits into. It seems like those things kind of align and can go together. So yeah, it's a possibility, but everything would have to align properly.
If you had to like pick a place right now, is there a place in the back of your mind where you would open another restaurant?
In the immediate area, something like just speaking purely practical, probably Brownsburg. Brownsburg or one of the nearby cities, they could be hit off of 74. I think as far as like traveling around and accepting that there could be potentially multiple times to travel throughout the same day, it would need to be something on an interstate. So that's kind of that's how I've thought about things. We had considered Lebanon, but man, I gotta tell you, that stretch of 32 is my least favorite piece of highway in the world.
Like the area you go off that way.
Yeah, that
There's
way.
like RVs and McDonald's and stuff.
Yeah, so that trip is atrocious. You can go anywhere from all traffic moving at 70 miles an hour or literally all traffic behind a slow moving large load, and you're gonna go 40 miles an hour the entire way. I couldn't imagine that.
What was the biggest challenge you faced while opening your business?
It's the same challenge I still face, which is I'm from here, I grew up with certain taste, and then I went away to chef school and got kind of fancier taste. And so I'm constantly trying to find the balance between innovation and classics. And that will probably continue to be my biggest struggle, as it should be, because you don't want to just be boring, but you can't be too out of pocket.
Or nobody will want it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think about like fashion too. Is like I have my own tastes and
Yeah.
things that I like, and it's really hard to think out of the box and like put yourself in somebody else's shoes and like what kind of style they would like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first concept that I've ever designed for the community instead of just for myself. Like, we're taught that a chef's menu should be a reflection of him, and like you are eating Isaac in every single way, and everything's micromanaged, and this and this and this and this. But I've been able to step back from that, and if I had to think of Francis and Mount to anthropomorphize it at all, it would be more like a kid, which is like, it's great when your kids share interest with you, but they don't have to. It's allowed to develop into its own type of business. And that's how we really objectively examine what we do here now and follow the numbers and talk to customers. That's how we establish the menu.
What was, like when you very first started, what was the menu that you had?
What was the what?
Menu that you had?
Well, when we first opened, the last day of 2018, what I wanted to do was just cheese and charcuterie with some hors d'oeuvres and wine focused. I had seen, little, because that's only about 1,200 square feet over there. So I had seen little 1,200 square foot places work out great with just, bites and drinks, right? But that really just doesn't fit into our lifestyle here. Our lifestyle here is we've all got kids.
Yeah.
So we're not bar hopping. We're not starting the evening. I wanted to be the place where you would start the evening or end the evening, but that urban way of going out is not part of our lifestyle here. It's like, dude, we only got 90 minutes. I love your place, but I need something more to eat because we can't go somewhere else also.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, one-stop shop. So we had to retool that completely.
I know this has been like different kinds of things. Like it was a chocolate shop. It was a barbecue place.
Yep.
So, and those places I feel like went out of business fairly quickly.
Yep.
So what do you think has kept you in business a lot longer than, like, say, the other places that have been here?
Well, the main thing is so Francis and Mount opened in 1909 and closed in 1989, and that's why we wanted to keep that name. We wanted to pay tribute to the place that had been open here for 3 generations.
Was it here, like, at this very location?
Yeah, it was literally this building.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was a general store, and then they kind of did pet supply over here, and they just dabbled in what the community needed. But that was our first step, is that we were going to, pay homage to the place that had been open here for so long. And then the second thing we were going to do is we were going to put love into the buildings too, which they really, this is built in 1880, and it appears it's had well over 50 years of next to no upkeep. So we've dumped a lot of money into this nice historic building.
So what are you planning on doing to that side?
So yeah, the
And then
next
you did, like, the chefs.
right, the next building over, there's a lot of possibilities with it. The first thing that we finally had to break down and do was what's called a feasibility study. That's by KGG. They're engineers, architects, and attorneys. And the major hiccup that we're hitting right now is that if we want an occupancy greater than 99 people, we will need to sprinkle the building, so have fire suppression installed. That is a gigantic cost. And it needs to hold more than 99 people in order to recoup this cost. So right now, we're not in a hurry at all. We still have room to grow. With the dining room remodel that's going to be happening in the next couple months, that'll still be a gain of seating.
In here?
Yeah, in here. That'll still be a gain of seating, so that will be, some growth. And then we can keep working on that as we get around to it. But for right now, it's not going anywhere. It's building equity.
What are you guys doing in here?
So the look of the bar with the light barn wood and everything, and the raw wood, the raw edge tables, that will be continued over here. A long banquette running from window to wall will be right here. And then we'll have 2 top tables that can be, mobile to push together for your larger tables. Over there, starting at the window and running to about the corner here, we'll have 3 or 4 booths, 6-person, booths.
Nice.
So adding some layers of dimension. Again, continuing to bet down on the bar and grill factor, and that's based on a lot of things. Not only opinion, but also following sales and seating patterns. And it's clear that the majority of people love the bar, and so carrying over that look in a slightly more quiet atmosphere is the goal there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you guys are doing that, are you guys going to be closed, or are you going to just do it?
Well, no, that's the beauty of having the building next door, is that we will be able to fully fabricate and set up, and then on installation day, be able to move everything over and install. We might have to keep the dining room closed an additional day or 2, but I don't even know if we'll need to do that.
Okay, cool. How do you deal with bad reviews and criticism from customers?
Well, criticism, first and foremost, when it can happen in the restaurant and face-to-face, is incredibly valuable. I want to figure out what we did wrong. And if we did something wrong, we've got 2 options. We need to make your food again, or refund your money or invite you back. That to me is bar none. I typically don't do both. It's either like we get to try again and refund the money. But as far as bad online reviews, I believe really hard in never replying to any of them.
Really?
That's online. We don't reply to a single one under any circumstance. There's, in the case of slander, something that's just fully out of pocket, we have needed to pursue that from a legal standpoint before But for everything else, I just let online be online. And the beauty of it is we have such a loyal fan base that our customers will take care of defending us.
Yeah.
But I feel like most of the time when you read a bad review, which are often written, well, when it's in-house, we do everything to make it right. And I don't necessarily wait for a customer to tell me that something's wrong. It's like, if you just ordered a burger and french fries, you've had precisely one bite out of your burger and 0 french fries. I try to figure out what's going on there. Sometimes it's not always us, you know, they've got other things on their mind or whatever, but I try to pry a little bit. It's like, okay, what's wrong with that? You didn't just come here and spend $20 on something and not eat it, you know? So I try to be pretty aggressive in getting feedback when it's in the restaurant. And then as for online reviews, I let them be online reviews. We have a policy of 0 replies, for good or bad.
Okay. I guess, like, how do you feel, like, I feel like you seem very calm and, like, firm in knowing that, like, not replying to like, bad reviews online. Was there something that happened in the past that, like, made you stop doing that, or?
Yeah, at Local Root in Chicago, and this was really when Yelp was at its heyday. Thank God Yelp is not that big of a thing anymore, but Yelp really was a bad move for the industry. Like, it just totally fed into people. They had the Yelper Elite thing, which is, you know, you write so many reviews and you're given this special badge. It was just, you know, really when social media was becoming a thing, right? Like an addictive thing. It's been around for a minute, but nobody was like entrenched the way that we are now. So we replied to every single review, and it did not help one bit. It began starting fights or made us seem defensive or desperate. I was against that the strategy completely. And, you know, having done it both ways, for us, it's hard not to reply to something that is just completely ridiculous. But I have to have faith that the ridiculousness will come through, and it often does.
I feel like more often than not, people who are saying stuff online wouldn't say those things face to face, and so that's why they were saying it online.
Yeah, me too.
What do you love most about being a chef?
What do I love most about being a chef? The challenge of trying to be original and creative and then also produce something that people want to buy. Because those 3 things, like original and creative, check, easy. Well, easy if you're creative, right? Yeah. But as far as like taking something to market that is absolutely something that people fall in love with, that's a big challenge. And we have, you know, at least probably 10 to 1, you know, or maybe only about 10% of our ideas actually are received well enough to become a special and then maybe later a menu item. So it's a challenge, and that's what I find to be invigorating about it.
When you do specials and they like don't do well and you like purchase the ingredients for them, what are ways that you like utilize the ingredients that you haven't used or didn't get to use?
Most of the time we eat them or we donate them. If it's a special where there wasn't necessarily, like we were going mostly raw ingredients to finished product, then those raw ingredients still exist or are in good shape. And then we retool that special because like today we were working on a new chicken dish that should be like a main plate chicken dish. And then as we're eating it, we're like, man, we just created the best wrap ever, you know? So what started off as a main plate really didn't end up that way. And sometimes the flavors completely become
like an accidental dish.
Yeah, become something different. It's all pointing you in a direction, and you just kind of have to go with the flow and feel the wind and then tighten the sails and try to catch it and head off that direction.
I guess kind of on that note, what's your favorite part about being like a mentor? Watching true growth and development. That's definitely the best part. And you know, and then the other side of that too is
the sad part about that is just watching it not work.
Mm-hmm.
But often that, there's a lot of reasons why people don't work out in this industry, and that's okay. Not everybody's supposed to. There's a lot of different jobs to choose from out there.
What is your least favorite dish to prepare and why?
Oh man.
It doesn't even have to be for a restaurant. You just need
Right.
to.
Boy, I've got a lot of dishes I don't
You
like.
can name multiple.
One of them has to be like spaghetti.
Really?
Just like
Is it basic
your basic spaghetti. I'm like, my God, what an uninspired dish.
I hate
Like
spaghetti.
that's Brooklyn Italian, right? It's not even Italian. Italian cuisine is brilliant and simple and about the pasta or about a few simple ingredients done really, really well. And then the Brooklyn Italian is just god awful. I mean, like naked noodles, often overcooked, red sauce over the top. So I try to run from that whenever I can.
Just like basic dishes.
Yeah, basic dishes like that. I do not do the super basic very well. Hate making lasagna. What else? Yeah, no, I
Love it,
love,
but hate making
yeah,
it.
love to eat lasagna. But there's just something that doesn't click with me. And again, some of these things will just take me 1,000 times to get good at it. So it's like, my counter keeps going. And because we believe you've never done anything until you've done it 1,000 times. So, as I get closer and closer to that 1,000 mark, I will become good at it. But sometimes the frustration of there's a lot of food that I'm pretty inherently good at making, and there's just a few dishes that sometimes it's like, oh man, I don't want to get my ass kicked by this. Yeah.
I guess on that note, like a portion of work that you have to do, or like say like a dish that you have to make because it's on the menu, how do you like motivate yourself in a way to make it more fun and like find more joy in doing it when you know that like internally you loathe doing it?
Right. Well, I have high drive, as do most people, right? But I think that drive and discipline have to go hand in hand. And, the only difference between drive and discipline, you have to do something with the same passion and focus as you've done with drive. So you have to just, I have it as a value within myself. It's like, look, dude, you're making this. Like, you have to do it just as well as if you had wanted to do it. So being able to make yourself do hard things is a tenet of my, who I am. I think that that's a very important thing for this man, is to be able to conquer whatever he's being a little crybaby bitch about.
I feel like lately I feel like I've tried doing that more, is like finding the joy in like the little things that I hate doing.
Yep.
And like doing it more intentionally.
Yeah.
And I feel like that makes it a lot more,
Yeah.
I feel better doing it, knowing I've done it with intention.
Yeah. Me too. To be hyper focused on it. Escapism definitely, it only makes things worse, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I'm not feeling work today. Let me watch the clock tick down.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, dude, you really want to have the longest day
Watch the
ever?
clock.
Watch the clock.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna look at the time.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it pass and
Yeah.
do my thing, and the time goes by so much faster when you do that.
Yeah, and just try to be fully in this moment. I mean,
Like engulfed in what you're doing.
right. And we only get so many moments, man. Like, that was something that my grandfather always told me, because I wanted to be an adult right away, wanted to get into working professionally. And he's like, dude, Ike, quit wishing your life away. When we're looking forward to things in the future, we really are just,
Missing now.
yeah. And that's all we have. Is the now.
Yeah.
It is like just enough.
What
to
is
get
your
you right.
signature dish?
I have a few of them. None are on the menu.
Why not?
I don't think that they would sell in this market.
Oh,
I really don't think they would. One that I really love is filet. and that's fingerling potatoes tossed in, kosher salt, pepper, high quality olive oil, shaved truffle, a fillet, and then a salad of shaved fennel and arugula on top. Nice pan sauce with that too. Another one that I do is a airline chicken breast, which is like, to me, the only tolerable way to eat a chicken breast is when you've left in from this joint to here, and then you strip this bone clean. But what it does is it leaves all the collagen from the shoulder, which cooks into the breast, but it's a very long fire time. So again, that's out, right? So if something takes over to 15 minutes to cook, we really can't do it on our menu. So those are some things that I've had success with other places. As for a signature dish on this menu, this is something that's original and it's well loved and it's performed well year over year. For 5 years it's been on the menu and I haven't changed anything about it. It's our honey salmon. So it starts with a really high quality Canadian cold water salmon and then the right amount of local honey over it, a 1/4 inch of white wine around, and then it's baked in the oven for, should be 7 minutes, but we take it all the way to 9 minutes to adjust for this market doesn't like fish that isn't cooked all the way through. So, so that's kind of our one of our de facto signature dishes.
Okay. I guess going out, what advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to start their own business? Not even in food, just in general.
You have zero room for any type of victimhood under any circumstance. It is 100% your fault, and your triumphs 100% belong to the crew, okay? Everything's my fault, but all the victories I can give away. And that is how you keep you stay on the path of extreme ownership. And then just anything you can do in your life to conquer the inner bitch will help you when these big situations arise. That means there is your alarm clock doesn't have a snooze button. You know what I mean? Like there's zero snoozes. Take cold plunges. Do anything that you can to prove to yourself that you can do what you need to do. And then, so that's the one thing. So the extreme ownership. And then the other one is always speak in terms of ours and we's, right? This is our restaurant. We do this. I think that's incredibly important. I see no room for this like thought that I've done any of this.
Yeah.
That I've been able to inspire others and cooperate with them in order to achieve our goals. And when it comes to the team, especially during your first few years of development, if you think it's hard to train a few people, wait until they keep constantly quitting, and then you need to train more and more and more and more and more and more. So you've got to pay above market average. You have to. There's no, and especially in today's day and age. And maybe I feel this way. I definitely feel this way about the restaurant business, but I think a lot of other industries are kind of catching on to that too. Is that there's the old days of like, we're going to work somewhere from age 20 to age 55 and then retire. That's completely gone. No one is that falsely loyal anymore. So I think, treat your employees incredibly well and extreme ownership. It's all your fault. But that's a good thing, because when it's your fault, you stand a chance to fix it. Of course you have to determine what's not in your control, and that's the hard part, right? But I think most things are kind of in our control, and if we can't control the situation, we can control our attitude in it. When it's 0 degrees outside and everybody's bummed out that we're gonna have a slow night, that's when I come in looking extra sharp in an extra good mood and work with the crew extra hard to keep them motivated and involved in what it is we're doing.
I feel like your mood changes so much. Like when my manager comes in and she's happy and like boosting our self-esteem, like it makes such a difference.
Yeah, it's hard. And when I'm having a hard day, like I don't want to bring down my team, and I do have to, you know, as a workaholic, you kind of like I struggle with, you know, when do I need to be there? When should I be there? Should I be there all the time? You know, but really, if I'm dragging the team down, then I really just try to fuck off because they're so much better on their own. You know, I trust them in their capabilities. We have aligning values on food quality, so that's my thing. But yeah, I agree with you, man. When your leader's in a defunct mood, it
ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, it does.
And then, what would you say you are most proud of that you've done in the years of owning this business?
Okay, so for the community, I'm so proud of Feed the Fam. I think that's been an incredible addition
It really has.
to everything. What I'm proud of for my own professional development is when I was able to like kill the first concept and then completely change my perspective, you know, and that's a struggle with my ego. And it's like, you know, to admit that you got something that wrong, like, dude, like we pivoted in every single way. Like we had to do literally the exact opposite of what I started off doing, you know. So in the beginning, we only wanted to serve like 20 to 30 people a night. It was really dark in there and it was wine focused. Now, bring it on, everybody. It's very light, it's lively, and it's, you know, beer heavy.
Being able to admit that, like, takes a lot.
Yeah, it does. And it really took a lot of...
It's also very humbling.
It is. And I had to get help with it too. I have a few, you know, chef mentors that I'm still in contact with, and just kind of professional development mentors that help me to work through this shit, because I'm not the only guy trying to work through these things. And you know, loneliness is the biggest lie ever. That's like, I think that's the devil's favorite tool, right? Is to convince you you're alone in your problems and no one else has ever felt this way. And we know that that's not the case. So I'm pleased with my development in that area, and that I can recognize it. So still have a lot to work on. Still am working a lot, but yeah.
Anything to end with?
When you're thinking of starting your own business, be really careful using the word dream, because dreams are what happen when we're asleep. You know, we need ideas and then plans, and then we have to study, is it viable in the market? You know, so I was too dream and idea heavy in the beginning. I wanted to do something easier, but with just, my God, 20% more market research, I could have saved myself a lot of time and frustration, and just realized how unsatisfied Crawfordsville was with the food scene, and just immediately gone towards bar and grill, and that would have solved a lot of things.
So maybe just take things slower.
Yeah, that's still something that I'm working on, but now it's officially our motto that the fastest way to get to where you're going is slowly. I think that's RuPaul that said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right.